much. Up next on Morning Joe, a remarkable story of unconditional love and discovery. Author and Emmy Award-winning journalist Kara Sundlun joins us next right here. Welcome back to Morning Joe. Here with us now, Emmy Award-winning anchor for WFSB TV in Hartford, Connecticut, Kara Sundlun. I used to work there.
You did.
I co-anchored with her husband. Headlines. She made headlines as a teenager in a bold move to connect with her biological father. In the early 90s, Kara filed a paternity suit against her biological father. Then the Rhode Island governor, Bruce Sundlun, not just any dad, he was a governor. Sundlun's finally met and appeared at a joint news conference in 1993. Take a look.
You can't wave a wand and have miracles that happen. That happens in fairy books, but not in real life.
Yesterday he was described to me, excuse me, as a milk toast. As somebody who was hard on the outside, but underneath was soft.
Kara writes about her she was 17 when she did that, about her incredible quest in her new book, Finding Dad, From Love Child to Daughter. I just, first of all, can't get over how young you were and how tough you were to do that.
You know, it was one of those things I had to do, maybe in part those tough genes from, he was a tough guy, so.
Yes, he was.
And my mom was a tough gal to raise me alone. They, you know, met in the 70s and he wasn't willing to claim responsibility for me and she did it alone. And then when I came to really want to know him, it definitely took some guts to go after it. But a lot of what you write about, Mika, my inner voice said it was going to work out. And I had to just keep taking that leap of faith. And it did. And the reason why I wrote the book 20 years later, because it was such a big story back then and everyone was just talking at it from a tabloid sense, but 20 years later I learned that you do stand up for yourself, you go after what matters, but we learned that if you have forgiveness, it's a magical thing.
Did he ever apologize to you for not claiming?
Yeah, in moments. I mean, yes, he definitely expressed regret, and to my mother, which was important to me. I mean, there was a moment when we got married, when I got married to your former co-anchor,
exactly,
Dennis House, that my dad stood up there as he's giving the speech talking about all the things he was proud of and then said, I can't take credit for any of that. Her mother raised her alone. So there were moments for that, but I had to, when I moved into his house.
Was he married or something?
It was like kind of an in-between. He's been married 5 times.
Oh, wow.
So
that's a lot of marriages.
And yes, when he found out about me, he had just gotten married for the 3rd time.
Oh, to somebody else. So yeah, so that was the reason.
Yeah, and so, so it was not convenient for him at the time to have a child. And my mom back in the 70s did try, and what they ended up doing is settling out of court and with a settlement for $35,000 and a promise to never call him again.
Whoa. So what was the process of telling the story like for you? I guess some would ask, why would you do it?
Right.
Why
and
would you write this down?
I learned that in that moment where he said, listen, I'm going to acknowledge you, and you're going to, here's what I want you to do. I want you to come live with me. How else am I going to get to know you? So I knew right then I had to not beat him up for the first 18 years if I wanted the happy ending that I wanted, which is I needed and wanted a father in my life. So that lesson of forgiveness, that lesson of starting over, and that lesson of listening to your heart was something that, especially now where so many kids are growing up without a dad and feeling disconnected, I thought it was important to tell what happened after. I mean, you watch Annie and you know she goes into it with Daddy Warbucks, but you never know what happens after.
No.
And my dad and I really had an amazing relationship. My brother Stuart is over in the green room. You know, we just had Thanksgiving with 26 people I would have never known had I not taken that leap of faith.
That's so nice. But how did you deal with the rage that you felt against him for all those years for not being there?
I think it evaporated in moments as we got to know each other, as we sat there in small things of like realizing we ordered the exact same ice cream, or he started to show up for me in my life for my first job or for my children.
So he made up for it.
As 2 young children, he became a wonderful poppy, and that gave my parents an opportunity to be grandparents together rather than just ex-foes.
A whole new world was opened up. Louis, you have a question?
I want to change gears here for a second. Now, I know that your husband Dennis worked with Mika a long time ago.
He's such a nice guy.
I think he sent us some photos.
No.
I don't know if we have it in the computer.
Oh, let's see the hair.
Not okay.
Some old school Mika photos.
Whoa.
Look at that.
I love the hair, Mika.
Wow, wow.
So
it's not the hair, it's the
Wow, wow. What are you guys doing?
That's cute. That's a cute.
You know,
WFSB.
I was
You look like a
23.
skater.
I'm Oksana Bayul. Oh my God.
You know,
oh my God.
I tweeted that picture, the first one as I was coming here. I just trust us, neither one of us will have the same hair from when I was 17 or when you were not much older than 17 there.
You know what? These hairdos are going to look stupid in 10 years,
so
too.
hard on that hair.
I know.
Okay. Seriously, I have like carpal tunnel syndrome.
Awesome.
Get the root to boost. All right, Kara Sundlun, thank you so much. The book is Finding Dad, From Love Child to Daughter. Great job.
You know, I just have to say, I wouldn't have written it unless Mika told me, you have to write this.
You have to write
and
it.
you wrote the foreword,
The
so thank
publisher
you.
said no, so what'd you do?
I went out and found another publisher.
Atta girl. Up next, what, if anything, did we learn today? Time now to talk about what we learned today. Kara.
Yes, I learned from Mika about knowing your belly, but I got to tell a story. Mika's a legend in Hartford, and even in your 20s, you were already a champion for women because there was a woman in our office who was maybe going to get fired, who was pregnant. She was a reporter, and you, at that young age, marched into our general manager's office and said, "You cannot fire her.
I remember that.
She's pregnant." I mean, that was pretty big for you in your 20s, but you got to stand up for other women. I guess that's the lesson.
I thank you for reminding us. That's incredible. Thank you, Kara. That brings me back 20 years. Go ahead.
Don't forget to tip for the holidays. Unfortunately, that study showed that men are a little more generous than women.
Well, they make some
What?
money.
No, exactly.
Hello.
Thank you, Joy. What'd you learn today?
I learned not to sit next to Mike Barnacle on a plane.
Exactly. Definitely don't.
That's what I learned.
Yeah, and I'm the boozer. And I learned what a furry is, and I'm very sorry to everybody. That does it for us here on Morning Joe. The Rundown is up next. Have a great day.